What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And welcome to my video guide for Dimensions and Entropy Tier 8 or Floor 8. Now before we do start, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and without further ado, let's start this video. Now we'll start this video off with the general tips and guide, because the enemies that we are facing for this particular fight, they're all pretty much enemies that we have faced before. So the first one I have for you guys here is to use the majority of your abilities on wave 2 and 4. Now you can definitely use them on 1 and 3 as well, but I would really not use a lot of them, maybe 1 or 2 per characters, especially if you have characters that can replenish their abilities. Then you can definitely use a little bit more, but I would try use your HP attacks and whatnot for those particular waves. The next one I have for you guys here is to bring an Imperaler / Enchanter like Lulu, Yuri, Onion Knight, Golbez, Gao, or even Shantoto, and maybe in the future the twins Lon and Rain can also imperil as well. The next one is to bring a tank or a healer like Zack, Kimari, Warrior of Light, Penelo, Ishtola, Rosa, or even Bosch. Next up, if you plan on using physical range characters just like Aranea or even Noctis, make sure you pair them up with Lulu. Lulu is probably the best Enchanter / Imperaler we have right now. Onion Knight can do this a little bit as well, albeit a little bit more limited, but he can certainly do the job. Next up is to delay and of course paralyze to save you from those turns that can get pretty ugly. Now there are a lot of, I guess, situations that you can get yourself in this particular tier that will probably cause some death. So if you can delay or even paralyze some of the bosses, it's definitely gonna help you out. Now as for the summon, I highly recommend bringing Ifrit, only because my strategy sort of revolves around using Ifrit, especially if you don't use Lulu. Ifrit is going to be an integral part of your strategy. Now if you do plan on bringing Lulu, you can bring someone else, you can bring brothers, and of course even Shiva for your summon. Now let's talk about general strategies wave by wave. Now as I mentioned, wave 1, try to use your HP attack plus, and again you can use some of your abilities just to set yourself up. Especially using quick EX abilities is going to save you a lot of your abilities for wave 2 and wave 4. Now for wave 2, this is basically the integral part of my strategy when you're using Ifrit. So you use Ifrit at the start of the fight if you don't have Lulu in your party. Basically you're gonna burn the boss down as much as you can. They will eventually change elements, there's no helping that, but with your team, by the time they actually change, you should have imperiled them by then, and you should be able to actually deal a decent amount of damage on those two behemoths. Now on wave 3, again use your HP attack plus if you can. If you can replenish your abilities once again, you can use some of your abilities just to break the little weeds out, but you don't really need to kill them. You're gonna have to concentrate a lot of your abilities on the big mother weed. And finally on wave 4, pick your poison. Basically either you attack the Kraken first because it can delay, and of course it can do high single target damage. Now if you do decide not to kill the Kraken and want to kill the Celestial, because the Celestial can do AoE HP attacks. Now personally I killed the Kraken first because it is quite fast, especially with Sand Flurry. Basically sometimes it will have like 2 turns, and the Stone and Stonera just keeps delaying your characters. If you're using like a tank, that tank probably won't get a turn for a little while. So I did decide to actually kill the Kraken first because I didn't feel like the Celestial was any threat to me. Especially you would know when it's actually going to use its AoE HP attack, and that's when it starts charging. Okay, now let's talk about some possible party composition. The first one I have for you guys here is the party composition that I'm using on this video. It's Golbez, Zack, and Yuri with an Ifrit summon. Golbez for the pure damage, and of course his Dark Imperil will help himself. Zack just for the provoke and soak damage, plus his EX actually does quite a lot of damage as well. And Yuri for the Imperil, heals, and Brave Battery. Now the next team I have for you guys here is if you do manage to get Penelo's EX weapon. This is Penelo with Lulu and Jet with his Shiva summon. Penelo for the support, of course, Lulu for the enchant and / imperil, and Jet is basically your pure damage. Now you would need a purpled up Lulu. I feel like I tried using my own Lulu, which was not purpled and didn't really have the perfect artifact passives. She wasn't really doing a lot of damage. It was still decent, but I would highly suggest going for a purple Lulu for this one. Plus the Shiva summon is definitely gonna help you with your speed, because like I said, those Sand Kraken, they're pretty fast. So having Shiva as your summon will give you that extra speed. Plus you don't need Ifrit for the second wave because you do have Lulu. Now the next team I have for you guys here is Y'shtola / Onion Knight with Yuri with Ifrit for the summon. Y'shtola for the Brave Battery and heals, Onion Knight for the enchant / imperil, and Yuri for more Brave Battery, heals, and damage. Basically, if one of your characters dies, at least you have Y'shtola to revive you. You can still make it to the score if one person dies, but if two people die, then most likely you won't actually meet the score requirement. So highly suggest just be a little bit careful. Now the last one I have for you guys here is Gao, Parms, and Kryle with the Brothers Summon, which was kind of an interesting composition when I was looking for other people's clear runs. And I will leave the link down in the description below. This is Lisette's run, so go check her out. This was quite an interesting run, and I don't have Porum, so I can't really try this, and I don't have Gao's EX as well, so unfortunately I don't have that. But you know, Gao can imperil the earth element, and Kryle can also imperil the thunder element, so they will be able to help themselves. Plus, if you have Porum, you can reduce the amount of HP damage that the entire party is taking. Once again, link down in the description below. Check out Lisette, and yeah, good job, Lisette. I'm just gonna say Lisette because it's really hard to say Lisette. Alright, good job. Okay guys, so we're finally at the end of this video, and of course I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this fight. Now, this fight was actually really annoying for me. I really had to redo my tier 7 run because I actually used Zack and Golbez there, which was kind of like my mistake. I wanted to save Aranea for the next tier, which basically this tier, and well, while she still works if you have Lulu, it can be a little bit annoying since pretty much the bosses can one-shot Lulu even if she's like full HP, and they don't actually need to break Lulu in order to actually one-shot her. Even like the first wave boss can do that, which I know can be really annoying. You might have to restart a few times if you are planning to bring Lulu without a tank. That's why I decided to grab Zack and, you know, maybe try with Lulu once again. I did get pretty far, but I made some changes, and eventually I just went with Golbez and Yuri and Zack. And honestly, it's been a while since I had to actually restart fights, and yeah, I would say this is one of the most difficult fights, at least for me personally. Probably because I had to redo an old tier and grabbed some characters there, which I really didn't want to do. In hindsight, I could have probably pushed through without Zack. I tried Bosch, which kind of worked for a little while, but my Bosch wasn't fully purpled out, so the damage that he was doing was kind of minimal. So Yeah, and I already used Warrior of Light previously, which would really help in this particular fight as well, I would have to say. So overall, I struggled a little bit more than usual with this one, and like I said, I haven't had to reset for a long time. Like on the final wave, you know, you close the app and so you restart that particular wave. Yeah, I had to do that a few times. Sorry, more than a few times. So definitely high up there in my personal difficulty levels. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help out my channel grow, and of course it helps with the YouTube algorithm as well. And also make sure to follow me on my social media. I am on Facebook and on Twitter. Leave down in the comments below if you have any interesting teams that you actually use for this fight. Just like Lil said, party composition, I did find that really appealing. I wanted to try it out for myself, but unfortunately I don't have Gauss EX and don't have Porum's EX as well. Anyway, this is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.